What up, YouTube? What up, world? Peace, blessings, glory, praise, and honor to the Most High. Happy Thursday. What's the word? How's everybody feeling? Welcome. Come on in. Grab a seat. Grab you something to drink. Grab you your favorite snack. Like, share. Let the people know that we are in assembly today. I got my brother in the studio ready to come up and drop some gems. I'm clipped up. I know you ready. Uh Friday is right around the corner. Lord willing, we get to see another one. Let's usher the right spirit today. Let's rebuke and denounce all wiles of the enemy in Jesus' name. We don't need any negative energy in the house of the Lord. We don't need any negative energy in the conversation today. We're going to have a good one. I'm excited for this, and I want to give a special thanks to Jason. I'm going to give a special thanks to everyone that is watching from wherever you may be seated. We do appreciate you for coming out and spending time with us today. Um, that being said, if you are subscribed, thank you. If you're not, definitely tap in with us. We would love to have you up here. If you ever want to join the panel, join a conversation, you can email me. I respond promptly. I do not treat anyone any more or less. Everyone is equal and is given a fair shot up here to voice their thoughts and their opinions. That being said, I want to bring my partner up here. Make sure you show this brother the same level of respect and love as he's been here since damn near the beginning. It's an honor to talk with him again. Y'all give it up for Jason Matthews.
What is
Yo,
going on?
yo. What's the word? What's the word?
The word is progress.
I love that one. I love that. I would rather see progress than to be on a decline. That's a fact.
You
How's the
said it.
day going, man? We yeah, we approaching Friday. The weekend is coming. I have a show for the people Saturday night on the after hours, man. I'm telling you, I wish you could be a part of this one. This is going to be spicy. Uh, it took me a while to come across this, but I saw it on Facebook, and it was one of those questions where a lot of people are probably going to be angry, but we have to have the talk. So if y'all
What's it on?
tap in, make sure it's so. Let me see if I can give a brief summary. It's a husband asking a question about infidelity. He gives about a 9-minute breakdown on his situation, and he's really asking if he's wrong for the position that they are in, him and his wife. It's really tricky, man. I wish I could play it now, but I want to make sure that copyrights and all that doesn't really mess with me yet. So I'm trying to tread lightly.
Got it.
Uh,
Got it. Yep. No worries.
we'll talk. We'll what I'll do is right. I'll send you the video after the stream so you can see what I'm talking about. You're gonna want to get
Appreciate
your hands dirty with it.
it.
Dirt Diggers UK. Salutes to you, sir. Appreciate you for pulling up. I ain't seen you in a while. It's good to
I do
see
want
you,
to let
brother.
everyone know
Hope all
that
is
I
well.
am currently. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut in your flow. I apologize.
You good? Go ahead.
All right. So I did want to let everyone know, whoever's watching live or the replay, that I do have an upcoming book coming out that deals with, particularly with men, and the challenges that they have in their relationships, their careers, and in finding fulfillment. So I'll let everybody know when it comes out. I'll give you the link where you guys can get it. It'll be for less than $1 during the release, and anybody who wants it, they can jump on it.
Sensation.
That's fire. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you, thank you.
Congratulations. That's what's up, man. How long have you been working on this?
20 years. Just kidding. The writing piece, I've been working on it for about a month, but the research has been 20 years in the making, at least, if not 44 years in the making. Spoiler alert: I'm 44 years old. So this has a lot of my own. I draw a lot from my own experience as well as from the research and the understanding that I've created about human behavior. In regards to this topic, I'm not going to spoil it for anybody. I'll let everybody be able to find out what it is about. But just know that it is specifically for men, helping them create the kind of fulfillment that they want in their life.
Right on, right on. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm ready to jump into this one.
Let's get it.
What is peer bonding? What is peer bonding, and why is promiscuity uh, a template for failure in relationships? I started to investigate a little further into what actually is the definition behind it. I wanted to know a little more about it because when you hear the word peer bonding, it's typically just for me personally, off the rip, I'm thinking emotional ties, connections. Um, you might have similar experiences with upbringing, habits, addictions. Maybe you experienced some ups and or some downs with somebody that might have been pleasant. That's initially what I was associating it with. If you dig deeper, then you realize that there's a lot more to it. They show and they depict the positives in peer bonding. There's actually pair bonding. There's different branches to it. So, uh, if you want to elaborate a little bit on what it is for you, what it looks like to you, and we'll just expand from there. Greg Kelly, what's
What's
up,
up,
brother?
Greg? Glad to see you in the house. Hell yeah. Great man. Great guy. Had a chance to talk to him. Fantastic gentleman. Um, so peer bonding, this isn't a term that I've really come across before. Like you, when I think of peer bonding, I think of social groups. I think of people just gravitating towards each other because of the generational familiarity that exists and the desire to create connections, experiences, and um, growth due to those or due to those associations and those connections. When you're talking about pair bonding, which is different than peer bonding, pair bonding really has to do more with the idea of um, what's the word? Codependent relationships. These are the kind of relationships where now a person doesn't see themselves as separate from the relationship. They see the relationship as being part of their identity, and an unwillingness to to extricate or to identify any part of them that is separate from the relationship for fear that the relationship might end and they lose what they believe is a vital part of who they are. So those are the two terms that I'm familiar with. As I was doing some research as you were talking, I was doing a cursory search on peer bonding, the idea of identity formation or emotional support, mental health, um, helping to develop social skills, influencing behavioral regulation, so the way that people manage stress and maintain a well-adjusted form of identity, a sense of belonging, the way that we learn and we grow, both cognitively and emotionally, and also how we define our relationships. Now, if we're looking at this last part, the way that we form relationships, especially in today's day and age, especially in the, um, yeah, I guess that this is a good time to bring it up. Are you familiar with the idea of the soft man?
Not in the way that you're probably going to describe it.
Okay, so I actually got introduced to this today, which is it's sensational. So the soft man, think of like your high maintenance woman, the way that she needs things in order to believe that the relationship is worth it. Take that and apply it to a man. And now he's saying, well, if you want to be in a relationship, you have to bring something to the table as well. You have to bring some kind of value that I can use. And some people take this to the nth degree, where they say, well, I have needs like my skincare needs that's formulated for men, my beard care needs. I need to make sure that I have the right vehicle. So this has to do a lot with men that are pairing up with women that are much more financially that are financially higher than a man would be. So it's kind of turning the tables, so to speak, on now instead of just this just being a female thing where females are saying, I want to get what's mine. And in order for you to have me in a relationship, you need to be worth this. Well, now the men are saying it too. And this is bringing about the idea of the soft man. So when you're looking at relationships and the way that relationships are forming, especially since we're coming into what some people are calling the soft man era, you're looking at now the demands and the perspectives that people have in relationships, the way that they expect relationships to form, and then also the stresses and the possible conflicts and challenges that can result because of the way that these relationships form.
When first time that I heard the word soft man era, it was used as an attack on men for coming off as prissy and needy, and you're acting like a female because you want X, Y, and Z from me, and it's supposed to be some form of a turn off. I just assumed, well, you have 1,000 different demands. Men typically only have a good three or four. What is the problem? And when I think about pair bonding, for one, anytime you are dependent on the other person, I don't trust that it can work. Not for a lengthy period of time, because if one person is constantly or consistently carrying the load or the lump sum of it, you're going to end up having that person resent you eventually down the road, because they're going to at least want you to carry the weight at some point, whether you're emotionally just dumping your stuff on them and they have constantly be the problem solver, or you're not carrying your weight around the house or intimately, especially from a standpoint where women tend to be more um, needing of this what's the word? It's where if they don't feel loved or they don't feel heard or seen, or something inside of them is not ignited by your fascination or your interest in them, by creating a fantasy world or a lifestyle that keeps them on constant fumes, like they're on caffeine or something, then there's gonna eventually be a problem. Um, on the flip side, men want to be nurtured. They want to feel appreciated. They want to know that you value them. Now, what does value mean to a man versus what value means to a woman is something that we always end up arguing over, or I've seen people argue over and over and over again. We can go down that road. I just wanted to address just some things that happen with pair bonding. As far as peer bonding, oh, it can be beautiful. It can be exciting. It can be everything that you want it to be. Granted, you are doing it with the right intentions. You're creating the right environments for the person that you are getting to know. But it can also be very dubious. I'm sorry, I didn't make the rules. And a lot of the imbalance comes from dealing with people that you're not equally yoked with. But I don't recommend anyone be codependent. I think both. I don't. I don't think anyone should be codependent on the other person. I look at it like you should be mutually on the same wavelength. Now, women compliment men where men can't compliment women, but men compliment women is a even trade off. But there's like this disparity between the two, which it smears the lines between both of these definitions. So I'll pass it back over to you.
So I totally agree. I think that codependent relationships are doomed to fail because while the person identifies themselves as part of or the relationship as part of themselves, and there's no differentiator there. There's also a lot of expectations that are placed in the relationship that have no way of being met because expectations by themselves are conditions that we place in our own mind that very rarely are communicated to our partner. Because if they were communicated, they would no longer be an expectation. They would be a goal or an understanding. And without a goal or understanding, you now have an expectation that you've kept to yourself that your partner did not actually agree to, and now is being beholden to a hidden contract, which is that's no bueno. That's a great way of destroying a relationship, really. As far as I might start out that way, but wind up. Well, yeah, that's what I'm talking about is codependency. The codependent relationships, even though they have the best of intentions, they really are a lack of security, a lack of self-worth, which is going to ultimately harm the relationship. And peer bonding can have implications for uh, creating codependent relationships. But again, it depends on other factors as well, such as the way that they see themselves, the way that they see others, the way they grow and develop, and the way that they have support, or the way that they feel like they belong. So there's a lot that goes on within that structure that can create or dismantle the idea of whether a person is going to enter into a codependent relationship. Um, yeah, that's really all I have to say about that.
So I think we've gone into a nice little steep portion of the pool. Um, think about this, right? When you meet someone and you're interested in them and you want to get to know them, what do? You ask questions. Now, depending on what type of questions will really determine what type of relationship or partnership you're going to get out of it. Um, I think asking out of fear, where you have perimeters on what you ask a person, is detrimental to the development of a healthy relationship, if possible. For example, if I meet somebody right now and I'm talking to them for, let's give it 2 dates. In those 2 dates, I don't ask anything beyond the surface level. Everything is about what you do for a living, what's your favorite color, um, hobbies, the typical limerick that everybody spews out. Then what I'm really saying to her is that I don't really view her as a serious candidate. I'm more or less I'm trying to figure out your triggers without having to go all the way down the rabbit hole, because there's always a mission there's always an agenda. My mission at that point is to test your personality out to see if you're someone that I can vibe with. The only way that I would take it any further than that, well, it would depend on the questions and how they're answered. It would depend on the back and forth. Can you make me laugh, or am I forcing it? Am I? Are you forcing it? Vice versa. Do you get my humor? Do you get my sarcasm? Do you get, like, do we have that chemistry there that is just like this and it's not um manufactured off of a script that you've seen on social media? And I think when it comes into play is where you become intimate. You pass the line of getting to know a person, depending on what it is. Are you really trying to get to know the person, or is it just a quick bang? You had a good laugh or two. Y'all like the same TV shows. You horny, they horny, they attractive enough. Bang bang, skeet skeet. Then what?
Bang bang, skeet skeet, nigga.
Then what? What do you have left? You didn't really ask any real serious questions, but you asked enough just to be able to have sex with the person. But do you like them? Do you like them enough to take it further than just being in that little weird space where y'all just hang out and watch Netflix? And are you thinking about your credit score and buying property and meeting? Are you doing that? That's why, specifically for this, I wanted to touch on peer bonding and pair bonding, just because I think people don't really understand how important or how impactful it is, how special it is, how meaningful it can be if you're operating from the right space, and the detrimental factors that come into play that causes people to have arguments, like if a woman has a high body count, it makes it hard for her to peer bond. You ever heard that phrase before? If you sleep with a number of people, it's hard for you to pair bond. Well, all of this is a structure or a framework of what would possibly happen if you are constantly out and about, just laying down with any and everybody, superficially, just exchanging your energy and your time with people that shouldn't have it. This is some of the damage that can possibly come with it. I haven't touched on it yet, but I'm segueing into it. Um, I turn it over.
So, in this idea of pair bonding that you're talking about, it's really the creating of an emotional connection with another person that results in a meaningful relationship. Is that what you mean? Is that what you mean by pair bonding?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So if that's the case, then yeah, I totally agree. In fact, there have been studies that have shown that people who are promiscuous, men and women who are promiscuous in relationships, do the reason why they have such a problem with being able to create meaningful relationships is because they grow a subconscious contempt for other people. And the reason why is because they believe that people are there only for transactions. And transactions are not meant to be the end all be all of relationships, because when you have a transactionary society, it does not allow for any kind of connection or trust to be formed. And the human species is a very complex organism, because not only do we need to reproduce, but we also need to build community. And these two things are absolutely vital for two of the three things that are vital for the sustainment of society, for it to thrive. And anybody who's heard me talk about this understands that reproduction is not just the act of making babies. It's also the act of instilling values, morals, and principles in them at the family unit, and then using those as a way of being able to evaluate the connections that they make in a community, knowing that the interactions and connections must be made. And this is what the building of community is all about. It is about creating opportunities for connection, for trust, for relationships, for creating other dyads or pairs of people that can then create more families, which will help to grow the community. And the third thing is building moral or developing moral worth. So through procreation, community, and moral worth, you have the three pillars that humanity stands on. And the building community piece is essential for, they all rely on each other, but it's essential to be able to build, to reproduce in a meaningful way that creates a future generation of people who know that they can go out into the world and create relationships based on the idea of building trust, of building deeper connections that allow for meaningful work and meaningful efforts to be made. And through that, advance the quality of the human race. And without that, if you have just the idea of just sleeping around and whatever happens, happens, you erode that ability to create those meaningful connections. You erode the desire to continue the human race because there's no trust that's there. There's no deeper connection. The why has just been removed. I'll yield the mic.
So see, I'm trying to frame this. There's pros and cons to both of these. You just eloquently broke and expressed the pros. I want to talk about the cons. See, here's my thing, right? We live in this hookup culture. We celebrate being promiscuous and being for the street and exercising our right as men and women to sleep with whoever we want. We can date whoever we want. We have all of these freedoms, but we don't understand or really comprehend the downside to having a roster. We don't talk about the downside of dealing with multiple people at one time. We don't talk about the damage it does to you mentally, the physiological changes that come from it. There's a reason why the studies exist. There's a reason why men say and women argue back with men about this. Well, how come a man can sleep with multiple people and it's not shameful or whatever? And women, when women do it, is a problem, and all of this. I want to be perfectly clear.
Serious.
I don't think that either side should be toying around with it. The whole idea that because men work harder and increase their value through wealth and status, and I don't look at that and say now I can pick any toy in the aisle that I want or any piece of candy and it's cool, but you can't do it. I don't look at it like that because there's a soul exchange. They leave that part out. They always leave that part out. At the top of the show, we said this is about an emotional connection, emotional exchange between people. Well, what happens to folks over time when men get tired of being the good guy? Men get tired of being treated like shit because they feel like they were used and abused and their emotions were played with. What happens to them? And what happens to the women who get ran through and go through all these horrible experiences with Chad and Tyrone over and over and over again? What happens to them? Think about, really think about the mating process from start to finish. The good guy, he wore his heart on his sleeve. He spent his money. He gave his time. He listened. He catered to you. He did all of this. You didn't reciprocate it the same way he did. It emotionally, mentally fucked him up, right? Turned him into the Joker after he then got played over and over and over again. Now his ability to care or understand the dynamics of dealing with the opposite gender is skewed because of the horrible experiences. Or we go switch it over to the female side where the woman, she's going after Chad and Tyrone, a 6'5" guy, the guy who is a great basketball player, a good sports player. He's a good talker, and he talked his way right into your underwear, got you right out of them, stripped you butt naked, and did the diddy do. You gave him your heart and soul. You cooked for him. You cleaned his drawers. You braided his hair. You gave him shape ups. You met with his family, even though you don't like them. You put up with all of it. And then you find out later on that your man has multiple women. He's been dealing with multiple women. And now you're trying to accept the fact that you weren't the only one. Pair bonding, all of it roll up into one. It matters. It means something. It should mean something. And I'm just giving a taste of it, of what happens when you interject and you tamper with the protocol, or you rearrange the furniture in the house that was already. Imagine going into a brand new house that was fully um, renovated. It had all of your utilities, all the amenities. It had everything. The walls were painted, had the paintings, the lights, all of it was just decked out. And then you go into it, and then you just completely change everything in it. It's kind of like that, kind of. I'll concede.
So I'm gonna get a little controversial up in here. Some people aren't gonna like what I have to say, but that's okay. They can choose to hate me later or just move on. So the more I understand the idea of peer bonding, I mean, this is a fairly newer term for me, but I'm pretty quick at picking things up. And as I look at the idea of peer bonding, and you're talking about the things that can happen with people, women get ran through, men get betrayed. This is where we get a lot of our gender confusion. This is where we get a lot of our misunderstandings of the kind of partners that we want to be attracted to. This is where a lot of the problems happen with men who are looking for cougars, or looking for those who are much younger than them, and vice versa. Women who do the same. The peer bonding effect was betrayed, and now either the something of the natural inclination of a person has been disrupted to the degree where they can no longer trust either the opposite sex of their peers, or their entire peer group entirely, or anything else having to do with people that are most like them. There is this breach that happens within this societal contract, within this societal ecosystem, that makes a person believe that they can no longer operate normally. And by normally, I mean the general way in which human beings ought operate. For example, the heterosexual individual that is going to be looking within their age group, plus minus 3 or 4 years, who is going to be attracted to someone of the opposite sex in order to create a relationship. That is what I'm defining as normal. People have their own ideas. That's fine. This is my example, so you go ahead and you just keep it to yourself. Now, people who have been betrayed emotionally, physically, socially, there's going to be a breach that happens within that normality that's going to create an abnormal reaction. And this abnormal reaction is going to either cause them to feel like the opposite sex has betrayed them, going towards a homosexual relationship, or that their peer group entirely has betrayed them, looking for partners that are older or younger, or a complete distrust of humanity, wanting to go celibate and do something else, wanting to go their own way. And until we actually are willing to address this issue, the idea that there are constant breaches that are happening within the generational ecosystem that are creating these that are creating these abnormal reactions, or ab reactions as they're commonly known as, that are going to cause someone to look a different way than what the rest of humanity does. Until we address that, we're not going to be solving any problems, because all we're going to be doing is talking about things that exist and why they should or shouldn't be different without any kind of change happening. I'm going to yield the mic.
I find it hilarious how a person can sit there and say, I'm cold hearted, I don't care no more, I don't have any feelings no more, I can't cry no more, I can't feel nothing anymore. I'm over this, I'm over that. I went through my healing phase. I did this, I did that, I did this, I did that. And well, I say to you, prove it through your interaction, prove it through how you treat your friends, how you're able to have conversations that require accountability. Show me through the way that you trust. Show me that you still have the ability to give the same level of love, time, and attention without any residual effects from anything that happened to you prior. When people say that they're cold and they're detached, what you're really saying is, this happened to me, that happened to me, and it's never going to happen again. Something changed.
They're hurting.
Something internally changed. Yeah. You went inside the house and you rearranged the furniture. Now you're trying to put up this wall, and really what is happening is the wall is nothing more than a mirage, and you're going to continue to go into other situations with the wall and a weird perception of connecting. See, you've already had too many situations where someone fucked up how you feel about yourself and how you view life and love and relationships and all that. Everything that you were basing all of these things on, they tore it down. And now you're looking at the rubble and you don't want to put it back together. It is not their responsibility. They have a part to play in it, but it's not their responsibility to give you that foundation. You already have to have it. But seeing as how we are already here, you have to address it. And I tell people all the time, for me, I would never involve myself with anyone knowing that there's things happening within me that would bleed over into something that could be beautiful. I wouldn't, that would be irresponsible, and it would damage you more than it would probably damage me. because everything could be completely fine with you until I come with my mess. So it's all fun until it ain't fun. All that I'm a man and I don't cry and I don't have feelings and I don't hurt and I don't feel. Why are so many of them in prison or taking back people that they shouldn't be taking back? Crashing out every day. If that wasn't a thing, y'all get mad. Y'all get mad at these dudes that y'all be laying down with and sleeping with, but they don't know. They just as damaged as you are. It just comes off as confidence and appeal and all of that. It's not. No. So I don't look at sex as a barometer for a healthy relationship. I don't think you should be judging your potential partner or the viability of that life that you try to create with them. I don't think you should base it on if their ability to please you in bed is solely your determining factors. To think there's other things to come with that. True. While I communicate with many people, my walls are almost always high or looking for red alerts. Yeah, I mean, if you honestly think about it, where does it come from? It's typically through interactions with people who you have had the fortunate pleasure of dealing with throughout your timeline. And something good or bad has happened. And it altered you. It altered the way you think. It altered the way that you see and view things and people. That's dangerous. That's very dangerous because a lot of people don't come back from that type of damage. So let me ask you a question, Jason, and I ask this to everybody uh in the chat. Does this high body count sexual partner roller coaster argument have any bearings on one party over the other to you, or is it on equal playing field?
I believe both sides are equally guilty. I don't believe that there's any one side that can claim any kind of moral justification if they are contributing to this whole idea of the high body count for women, because the only way that the women get high body count is by having sex with men. Yeah, that's really the only way. So if you're gonna hold one responsible, you're gonna have to hold the other side responsible as well, because it takes two to tango. And to Greg's point of the way that he operates when talking to people, he might communicate with them, but he's always looking for red alerts um high or looking for red flags or whatever. I get that. At the same time, there's a lot that you are missing for the quality of communication, and it's it takes away from the ability to create trust. Now, the idea of sex has always had many facets to it for both men and women. And a lot of it has to do with the ability to create and reproduce families. And when taken out of that context of the ability to evaluate whether a relationship is good because of the ability to create a good home for well-adjusted people who are going to go out into the world and be shouldered with the responsibility of advancing the human race, because it is a huge responsibility. And you take something that is supposed to be precious, like reproduction, and the act that there is sex, and you trivialize it. It starts to rock the boat a little bit too much for my liking, honestly, and creates situations that don't need to exist. The moment that you start creating these situations, you now risk overturning the apple cart, where now people are wondering, well, what's the point? Why are we doing this if I can't trust? If I can't trust someone that they're going to accept me, that I'm going to feel a sense of belonging, a sense of respect, and a sense of being recognized and valued. Why am I taking part in this? And the moment people start asking that question, we've got a serious problem. And people are asking that question. It is the idea of, are you here to serve, or are you here to be self-serving? And only one behavior is going to be the ability to serve. And it's not the promiscuity piece. Just a bit of a spoiler alert there. If you're interested in doing the promiscuity route, you are thank you for that. You are robbing someone of the quality of relationship that they can have with the person, where they right off the bat believe that they have the capacity to create a loving bond with someone where they can trust implicitly and truly believe that that trust will be repaid without any kind of strings attached, or any kind of conditions. It just will always be there. You rob a person of that. I'm gonna get off my soapbox now.
No, that's real spill. I like that you mentioned that last part about robbing someone. It is a different form of thievery, in where you take someone's peace away from them, right? Because one party might be more invested than you are, and that's time that they can't get back. Those memories that they could have created elsewhere, those are emotions that never had to be formed in the first place. Those are experiences that they never had to witness. Understand that while you can be honest and blunt and say, look, I just want to hook up, I just want to have a good time, you can do that. Let's even remove the part where there is no emotional connections. You're just there to hook up with the person. Maybe it was just in it still doesn't really change the outcome either way, because I don't care how much a person can sit up here and say they just players and pimps and they can just sleep with people without any attachments. You are absolutely still going to have some type of attachment. It just doesn't show itself the way that we would like to have it shown to us. And it took me a while to figure that out, a very long time to figure that out. especially when you get older and you start to realize that life is a lot more and offers a lot more. Then you understand that just sleeping with random people really doesn't do it anymore. I'm at a point now, it's like it's been so long. If I was to just go out here and just do it, I don't even know how I would feel about it. If I was just to randomly just go sleep with somebody just to do it, I don't even know if it would feel weird. It would feel hella weird. Like, yeah, I would enjoy it very thoroughly, might I add. But
Sensational.
I don't think that it just wouldn't feel the same. It wouldn't have no meaning to it, especially if I really didn't care about the person in general. That's just me. I'll even go a step further. I don't think there's too many virgins anymore. I'm not prosecuting nobody or nothing like that, and I'm not saying that you can't get this work, because you can absolutely get this work. Trust and believe me.
How dare you?
If you are my type and we vibe and we connect, oh, you can absolutely definitely get this work. But it's something. If I found out that you slept with, well, the if you slept with over a certain amount of people, I think it would only really bother me if it was recent. Like if you in a year of me knowing you, that's a problem. I can't touch you. If this was within just spurts and like you haven't been doing anything with anyone for a couple of years and I meet you and you've been just like that, we could talk. If it's been something like within months, no. But I digress. I'm probably going off. Um, I just think we need to be a little more considerate about who we deal with, why we deal with them, and our intentions overall. If you have any other thoughts to add on to this, feel free to do so. I know we are at that hour. We just hit 1 hour. Shout out, shout out, shout outs.
Dom DeMarco.
Um, there isn't anything much more that I have to add other than what I already have. I think this is a great discussion. I think that this is something that we can actually talk about more. Um, I have some ideas that we can get into, that we can really use to use it as a launch pad for, especially talking about the whole peer bonding idea and certain things that can come about because of proper and improper peer bonding effects, things of that nature. But yeah, this was a good discussion.
Yeah, I read a little bit of it. I didn't get to go down the entire list, but there's way more to this than what we covered here. But you got a understanding of. I would love to touch on this again at some point, a little more in depth on maybe we extract certain definitions from it, and then kind of play around with it, see where it go. But I definitely want to send you along with that video that I was talking about. As soon as I get off of here, I will shoot that over to you so you can see what I'm talking about. It's a doozy, man. It's definitely a doozy. Uh, Shout out to you. Shout out to everybody that's watching from wherever you are. Thank you for coming out. If you have any subjects that you would like us to discuss in the future, or you want to join a future show, all the information is down at the bottom. Email me at creedfilms1984 at gmail. DM me on IG or Facebook, wherever you are. Just send me a message. We'll talk. But overall, great show. Enjoyed it thoroughly. And shout out to the viewers. Thank you all for coming out. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. This is Assembly of Excellence saying good nights. And